another person that is so involved in our community, Representative Brenda Carter. She joins us on the Oakland County MegaCast. She is with our 29th district. Thank you for being with us. It's always great to have you.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you for having me.
So much to really kind of talk about with the district. I feel like Tyler and I were saying, I'm like, news changes each and every day as we continue to go through this pandemic. And of course, the big news coming out about the president and so many members of his staff as well being diagnosed with COVID 19. This really has no political parties, and we all need to come together.
Yes, Ronnie, thanks for saying that because, first of all, my prayers are with our president and his family and staff during their trials with COVID 19. We have been dealing with this in the legislature since we lost Representative Isaac Robinson to COVID 19, as well as two of our colleagues on the Democratic side having COVID 19, and now one of our colleagues on the Republican side is fighting COVID 19. So this is a very, very serious, serious virus. I'm understanding now it's on the uptick in two-thirds of our states, and we just have to do our due diligence to make sure that our residents, constituents, people all over the country are doing what's necessary to stay safe.
So the big news coming out of Lansing on Friday was out of the Michigan Supreme Court and the decision with the state's emergency powers. How do you think things are going to change in the state of Michigan going forward due to COVID and a lot of the restrictions that have been put in place because of the executive orders?
Well, first of all, I want to commend Governor Gretchen Whitmer, her team, and my colleagues for the hard decisions they had to make to keep Michigan safe. Michigan was on a slope second and third only to New York and New Jersey. And I believe in my heart that these measures were necessary to bring our numbers down and to mitigate some of the deaths that we were having in Michigan due to COVID 19. But going forward, I'm understanding that there's going to be some systems put in place that will continue to allow us to keep Michiganders safe. That's the number one concern I believe Governor Whitmer had in mind when she put some of these very, very strict executive orders in place. And I know she monitored every day to make sure that we kept our numbers under control. Right here in Oakland County, County Executive Dave Coulter and his team they have a great website out there that we could go out there and take a look and see how Oakland County is doing. And right now, even though we're under the threat of the flu season, as well as the upticks in COVID 19, it appears that Michigan still has this under control. So, don't have all the details at this time about what's going to be put in place once the executive orders expire, but I'm very hopeful that Governor Whitmer and her team is going to do whatever is necessary to keep Michiganders safe through flu season and on to the other side till when we hopefully get a virus. Excuse me, a vaccine.
Oh, that vaccine can't come soon enough. Representative, I have a question. What are you actually saying to the people in your district? Are you getting calls about the confusion about all the executive orders, more so even from the businesses? Do they need to follow these rules? Capacity issues, and you have businesses losing money. They're looking to our elected leaders to give them direction, and it seems like the word coming out of Lansing, there is no direction.
Well, I know we are working hard in District 29. I just recently reached out to the business community in Pontiac to set up a meeting to bring them up to speed. I know a lot of my small businesses are hurting really, really bad. And unfortunately, it's one of those yin yang situations where if we open up our businesses too soon, we run the risk of exacerbating COVID 19. But if we continue to keep them closed, they could lose their businesses. So it's really dependent on the surge of COVID-19 cases. And in Lansing, I know that the governor, the MEDC, and all of the other organizations that have their finger on the pulse of what's going on with COVID-19 are looking at ways to open up and provide the necessary resources for our business community. I know that in Oakland County, once again, they have given just numerous grants out to our small businesses so they can sustain themselves during this period of time. But a lot of things that's going on, I believe, is contingent upon what's going on in Washington and some of the relief packages that I know that my party is asking for. And I'm just hoping that both parties can see what the damage is being done by COVID-19, which is something that was totally out of our control, and come together at a time to help everyone, our residents and our business community.
Michigan State Representative Brenda Carter from our 29th district locally joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. The news from the Supreme Court regarding Governor Whitmer's executive order powers in addressing the pandemic came just on Friday. We're just now beginning, of course, the first work week after that ruling has been made. Have you or your colleagues so far had any conversations at the legislative level about collaboratively continuing Michigan's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, with there not being a central response from the governor's office that's now making the key decisions? And there's still some effort that can be made from the legislature and the executive of the state of Michigan to address this pandemic now that it, because of the Supreme Court ruling, will have to be a little bit more of a collaborative effort.
Absolutely. And I know that to answer that question now, definitively, I cannot. We have meetings planned as early as this evening to talk about what are the potential collaborations between the governor's office and the legislature. This is something that I hope that you will bring me back on soon so I can update the community on what's going forward once these executive orders expire. But right now we are in the what you call the noodling phase of this, and we are trying to figure out what's next.
We're all trying to figure out what is next in all of this. And as we said, this news continues to change each day and sometimes even hour by hour. Can we kind of switch a little bit to the upcoming elections? We're like a month away now, a little bit less than a month away, a little bit over a month away. I'm losing track of time here, Tyler. But any new... I feel like by now there's been enough education surrounding the issues that could be potential in the upcoming election. What do you want the people of the public to know and to understand? And is there any new message out there for them?
Okay, the most important message I would like to get out to my district, as well as anyone that's in the listening audience, is to vote and vote early. Okay, there's a lot of things going on right now that are being politicized, and we need to make sure that our voices are heard. Whether it doesn't matter which side of the coin you are on, it is your constitutional right to vote. So I would like everybody to vote and vote early. Like you said, the issues have been explained over and over again. Unemployment is still an issue. COVID-19 is still an issue. As mentioned earlier, support for our small businesses is still an issue. So these are some of the things when we go to the ballot box that we need to keep in mind when we cast our vote. So the biggest thing that I would like to impress upon people is to vote and vote early. If you can, please take your ballot to your clerk. Auburn Hills, Kegel Harbor, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake Village, and Pontiac. Please take your ballots to your clerk. If you have not received your ballot, please follow up on that. And you can do that also at michigan.gov/votes. So this is what I would like to communicate to anyone that's listening.
I get a little bit worried. I was speaking to some 20-something-year-olds. What are they, Gen Z or X now? I can't even keep up with it. But they're a lot younger than you and I. And I was surprised at how many of them said they were not going to vote because they felt like everything was so divisive right now that they were turned off by the political system and the political arena. Are there any concerns for people such as you and some of your colleagues on both sides of the aisle? You dedicated your life to being a voice for the community, but yet some members of our community are turned off by the fact that they feel like if you guys can't get along, what good is their vote?
Well, I'm really glad you asked that question because earlier in the year, even before the pandemic, my team and I began to recognize that there was this disparity, millennials and Gen Zs, because they're not used to seeing this divisiveness. But what we decided to do was go right into where their camp and say, hey, you guys, you are the future. One day this is going to be your world. So you need to become involved. And one of the things we did is started up a legislative boot camp. And this is filled with high school students and college students. And what we're doing is teaching them the governmental process because in a lot of school districts, civics is not on the curriculum anymore. So we actually have about 10 what we call interns that we work with every single week. We invited them to sit with us and watch the presidential debate. And I hope I can get that recording for you because some of the responses of the high school students was amazing. They had no idea this is the way our government works. And a lot of the solutions that they came up with inspired us, my generation, saying, yes, these young people are involved. Yes, they are concerned with what we're going to leave them. And yes, they want to be part of the political process once they understand how and why we do what we do. So I would encourage anybody out there that if you don't have a legislative boot camp, I can leave my information in the chat box. Well, this is an ongoing program. Once we graduate this cohort we have right now, we will start right up again and we will pretty much give them the opportunity to matriculate right into if they want to come to Lansing and become a intern there or a staffer, or if they want to go to Washington. The key thing here is that once they understood how government works in this country, they was extremely interested. And hopefully they will go out and tell their colleagues in high school and college that this is something they want to be engaged in.
Representative Brenda Carter from Michigan's 29th District joining us today on the Oakland County Megacast. Representative Carter, just another couple of minutes left with you before we'll have to move on today. Any updates from District 29, any projects that are currently ongoing or information that the constituents in the district should know at this point in time?
Yes, one of the things I just mentioned was the mentoring program, which is really, really huge. Like I said, if anyone wants additional information about that program, they can write me at Brenda Carter at house.mi.gov. It's an ongoing program. We're also continuing our community service work. We're gearing up with the Oakland County Poverty and Homelessness Task Force. We're getting prepared for our winter season. So this feeding program that we do, we have clothing, we have a lot of things that we can help our community with, and this is for all 5 communities. So that is extremely important. And once again, you can contact me at that email address if you want more information on how you could donate or be a part of making sure that our homeless community and those who are facing evictions or any of the hardships behind COVID-19. We have 5 task forces that are working in my district. I'd like to briefly mention all 5 of them. We have an education task force that looks at disparities in education. We have a veterans task force, which is really great, where we're doing online services for our veterans. We have the poverty and homelessness task force. We have the maternal or minority health task force, which is huge with COVID-19 going on. And then finally, we have a criminal justice task force. All 5 of these units are working right now in District 29 to provide services. And I would like to also state that all of these task force are grassroots. These are coming from the community, dealing with these issues that we have in District 29. So if you're interested in being a part of any of these task forces, please email me, or you can call me at 517-373-0475.
Okay, give me that number again. You said it so quickly.
517-373-0475.
Great. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure again having you on with us on the Oakland County Megacast to update us on what you and your colleagues are doing as we continue to navigate COVID-19. We wish you the best. And like you said, when you get that video, though, come back on. We'd like to see more, because the newer generation, Gen Z versus Gen X, I get them confused, but they're younger than us, but they are teaching us a lot. And we have wisdom for them, and they have advice and new ways of thinking for us. So working together, we'll all be better.
Yes. Can I make one final comment if I have time?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
I would like to say 2 years ago, when I was at this stage of this political process, I had no idea where Apple Island was, or what a sandbar was, or the monarch butterfly, or Night Amphitheater. I had no idea where these communities was. I did have very thorough knowledge of all the great things that's going on in Pontiac. But I'd like to just say, for my district, what a wonderful learning experience it's been for me. And I have to shout out to West Bloomfield as well, because a sliver of West Bloomfield is in District 29, just a sliver. So all of these communities, we were just listening to the rabbi a minute ago, and he was talking about unity. I think District 29 is a great example of unity, because now, 2 years later, I can actually answer all of those questions. And it's because of the great collaboration that I've seen across District 29, and I'm grateful for that.
That is awesome. Thank you. We live in a great community. We really do. And I think anything that comes out of COVID-19, it's that we are going to get out and explore our own backyards, because we do have a lot to offer right here in our area. Thank you so much to Representative Brenda Carter. She is with the District 29